Hello, Red is live. I'm here. I'm sorry I'm late. Had to put my face on. And honestly was a little bit nervous about talking about politics again. I don't like people to get mad at me. I don't. But I'm getting over it because I always have people mad at me. It seems like no matter what you do, there's gonna be people who don't like you or don't like what you have to say, especially on YouTube, or whatever. There's gonna be trolls. There's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna happen. So I really this is what I'm passionate about. It gets more views, and I prayed about it, and yeah, this is where I'm going. If people don't like it, well, go find a channel that doesn't talk about politics or talks about, what you want to hear. Maybe you don't agree with my views, and that's fine. You don't have to, you don't have to hang around. So, yeah, that's it. Red's followers are called Flames. Yeah, and this is what, speaking of a flame, this is what I'm passionate about. So I got my nice cozy sweater on. I'm sitting on my sofa because I'm going to be selling my sofa soon. So I love my sofa, but it won't fit in my car. So I'm not taking it to California. So I'm going to have my 3 candles right here. And I'm going to light them. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So, if anybody's new here, hi. I'm Redheaded Riding Hood. I go by Red for short. My name is really Susan. Shh, don't tell anybody. My name is not Susan, but it is. And I was married for 30 years to a covert narcissist. I have 5 grown children. They're like all over the country. In 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I got out of Georgia. I had wanted to leave Georgia. I was finally divorced in 2018. I separated from my husband in 2014. Yeah, I lived with him in the house for 2 years, so that was a little bit stressful, but not as stressful as some people think, because I was, before that time, before 2014, I was trying to change him. I was trying to save the marriage. I was just so codependent and trying to fix everything, fix my family. And so it was like much more peaceful. So we lived in the house together for 2 years, but we were separated. And then 2016, I moved out of the house. 2018, we were finally divorced. And I did Airbnb in my home in Georgia before I sold it in 2020. So I had this plan to downsize and sell all the stuff in my 1,600 square foot house. And Before that, I had a 26. How many square feet was a big house? Oh, it was like 3,000 square feet, I think. It was big. So I had a lot of stuff, and I even had a lot of stuff in the 1,600 square foot house. And I was selling all that stuff and downsizing in 2020. And then the pandemic hit. And I had been very depressed in 2019. So I started to get depressed again, but I had this plan, and also my house got infested with rats in September 2019. So I had rats in my house, and then I got rid of the rats, and I had gotten rid of the rats. I got the house. I got my ex-husband off the deed to the house, and I was babysitting my friend's pit bull too. She had moved up to the St. Louis area, and I was going to head up there. And I was watching her dog, and the pandemic hit. That was March 2020. I started to get depressed again because I'm like, how am I there's a pandemic now. How am I going to do this? Am I going to be able to do this? And so I decided I'm still going to try to do this. And miraculously, I shared this at church, briefly, because the pastor asked, he was talking about when Jesus did the miracle of all the fish right before he called the fishermen, which was Andrew, James, and John, fishermen of Capernaum. That little rhyme the kids learn from We Sing Bible Songs. When he called the fishermen, he did this miracle where he said, they had been fishing all night and they hadn't caught anything, but he said, cast your net on this side. And they pulled in all these fish. And then Peter went to him and said, I'm a sinful man, like, depart from me. And so our pastor asked a question when he did that message on, have you ever been like overwhelmed by something God did and just stunned? And I talked about that, that I was able to somehow sell my house, and it was an investor in Israel who bought my house sight unseen. And I still had so much stuff that I was like frantic. It wasn't like now. I'm glad now I'm downsizing, but I can be more thoughtful, and I have more time. It's not like frantic. I was just behind, and I had gotten rid of so much stuff. I made over $4,000 on selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace from my house in Georgia. And I gave stuff, I donated stuff. I threw some stuff away. I, recycled a bunch of paper, so much paper. And that's what was left at the end too. So I had stuff left over at the end when I was wanting it to be, whittled down, but I wasn't really ready. And so the realtor who sold my house actually to this investor in Israel by, filming it, sight unseen. He didn't see it in person because, it was the pandemic. He went through with his phone and filmed it, and that's how he decided to buy it. And maybe because it's an Air Force town. It was an Air Force town. It is an Air Force town. He bought my house, and it was like as is because I couldn't fix anything. It needed some work. Then I wasn't able to fix it. But I did get rid of the rats. I fired the exterminators because they didn't really do much but provide me with these not good traps that were plastic and would sometimes catch. One time I opened up a trap that had been set off and the rat's foot was in it. So I had a Peter Pettigrew running around my house still. And one time the rats, I need to find this video because I still have it somewhere. Like, I think it's on my Facebook maybe. But I didn't share it until afterwards. Well, I got rid of the rats and then I sold my house. I didn't share it, but I did get them out of my house. I didn't feel, I couldn't in good conscience sell my house when it was infested with rats, but it was awful. It was awful. And so my house sold on August 28th. And thankfully, this realtor came over and helped me. And I was able to rent a U-Haul truck at the last minute because I had little things and I still needed like 3 weeks. I stayed in a hotel and sorted through the last of the stuff. I'm planning on trying to make a video this week because I still have all this stuff and I've been going to make this video for a while. And now since all of it's like coming up again in my memory because I'm selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace and downsizing again to fit everything in my car and move to California. So, but yeah, let me play a little ditty for you on my flute. Like I usually do. I polished it, so it looks a little bit better. So, and also in 2020, I want to tell you what happened because it pertains to the poetry, prayer, and politics. I voted for the first time. Well, not for the first time. I think it was the second time, actually, for a Democrat. I voted for Joe Biden. And in 2016, Trump made me change my whole. I was going through so much in 2016. That was the year I moved out of my ex's house. 2015, yeah, 2016 is when I moved out of my ex's house and just a lot going on. And Trump made me change my whole political views, and I was confused and I was very angry. And so I posted the video. I just posted the video on Salad and Politics, and I said that I was upset at this person that said, you know, I didn't like either one of them. I didn't like Harris or Trump, so I voted for third party. And that I didn't say anything to them at the time, but it does aggravate me. But I do understand it because that's where I was in 2016. I had been a Republican for so long, and I had been brainwashed to not like Clinton. So I didn't want to vote for her either. So I just didn't vote, and that was wrong too. And I regret that I didn't vote in 2016. So, but that in a sense is, you know, I unwittingly voted in Donald Trump, you know, and but that was sort of my view then. But I feel like, you know, he's gotten so much worse, and and then so 2020, I decided, you know, to vote for Biden, and I went and I voted in Illinois too. And I went up there and registered in Illinois, and I bought my RV there. I fit everything I owned in my car, and I had a smaller car then too. So it was really a feat, and I really am like so thankful to God and pat myself on the back, give myself some credit for um, uh, getting out of Georgia in 2020. So yeah, and but I still had my head in the sand, and I regret that now. I still had my head in the sand, and I still wasn't really voicing my opinion. So, in part of Donald Trump's first term, I was doing Airbnb in my home. And I can remember one time I had a conspiracy theory person who might have been, probably was a Trumpster, but it upset me. And I had a rule at my Airbnb that there was no talking politics after this guy came and upset me, because he was one of those who said we did 9/11 to ourselves. Like the guy who is the guy that's gotten sued, the InfoWars guy who got sued and said that Sandy Hook shooting didn't happen also. And that was just horrible. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene going on Twitter and saying the Democrats control the weather. So why didn't they stop the fires in California then? They should have stopped the winds, since they control the weather. They should have stopped the fires, and so that right there, sadly, proof. But Trump wants to get rid of FEMA. I mean, I it's hard for me to comprehend that people are still buying into this. And another thing that upset me is the other day, I'm just on Facebook, minding my own business. Yeah, a lot of political stuff on Facebook though. But I remained friends with someone, a van lifer, who I used to be a member of their channel, a mega van lifer. I remained friends with him. We debated a little bit on my lives before the election. Didn't agree, said we were going to remain friends. He said, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But he said, we'll always stay friends. Well, he had something on his Facebook that I found very offensive, and it was Biden and Harris in the back of a garbage truck and Trump waving goodbye to them. And he thought that was so hilarious. Well, I put one word below his post, and I said, bye. And no, I didn't. I put two words and his name. I'm not saying his name. Some people who have been in here before might know his name. I had the refrigerator. I took my magnets off my refrigerator, but I had their magnet on my refrigerator. They have they have my sticker on the back of their RV. I don't know, maybe they can take it off. I don't know, but I unfriended. I just said bye, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna, I'm not. But also, to be fair, I did make a mistake. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I say wrong things or say things like the wrong way. And that's why I'm scared, like, to talk about this. It's, I got to be brave. I got to be brave though. Hey, Elsa. Hi, how are you? Hello. But I don't like to get people upset. I don't want to say the wrong things. Sometimes I said, like, the first time I had to let go of a follower who was, MAGA, was they started. I probably didn't say it. I shouldn't have said it. I get passionate and I get worked up and I say stuff. And I was saying stuff about Melania, but I was talking about how my brother had this offensive thing on his computer about, oh, we dodged a bullet because Hillary, and this was, probably been on his computer for, 8 years. We dodged a bullet because Hillary's so unattractive and Melania's so beautiful, and I was just like, this, what does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with anything? Nothing, and it's very misogynistic and crappy, in my opinion. But anyway, so I got, I'm glad you're doing well. Great. Thank you, Lord. Please continue to be with Elsa. I pray in Jesus' name. This is Poetry, Prayer, and Politics. So if any of those things offend you, you don't have to watch. You don't have to watch. I have mystery viewers again for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. So, I get worked up and I say stuff, and then I saw someone's post, and a liberal friend on from Van Life, a liberal friend that's from Van Life, and I saw her post on Facebook, and I got all excited, and I copied it, and then I reposted it on Facebook and Instagram and everything. And it was about the insulin prices. Well, I didn't check it. I'm good. I didn't check it. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't have. And then I got, because so since I was Republican and conservative before, and I was in Georgia, and I was in a Baptist church, some of my friends are from when I was a Republican, and also when I didn't talk about it. And so that time I just started talking about politics. I even avoided it on Facebook. I avoided Facebook a lot, actually. But I didn't talk about it on Facebook. In fact, in 2019, something that happened with a family of my daughter's in-laws was they attacked me because I was friends. They attacked me on Facebook thinking I was MAGA because I had a friend on Facebook who is now I don't know what happened to them. I think I have 2 Facebook pages. So one is my name, one is my personal page, and one is my Redheaded Riding Hood page. And so I had, I think, blocked this person recently. But back then, I wasn't talking about it. And I was friends with, with MAGA and with not MAGA, with liberals and with, I have also, it's kind of like when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was friends with like the potheads and the preppies and the popular people and the, and I was friends with everybody, Black people, white people, any person of color, I skipped school with one friend and, the cheerleader. I was friends with everybody. Not that I was popular really, but I kind of resisted. I remember I had this girl that was new that moved in down the street from me. And it's kind of like that. You've seen that movie Mean Girls? It's kind of like that. It's exactly like that. And so she moved in, and she started hanging out with the popular group. And like, I remember her saying something to me like, well, you should, she was giving me like advice. She was just like, you could hang out with us, because I always thought like, I really, really related to Cat, Caddy was Caddy. It's not Katie, it's Caddy. Cady. The one who I kind of looked like that too in high school with the long red hair. And yeah, I was kind of like that. But yeah, so in 20, I think it was around 2018 actually, because it was when I was talking about my green card guy, because my green card guy wasn't supposed to get in the country because he was from Syria and he was under the travel ban. And the only reason he got in the country was because he got his visa before Trump's travel ban. Chia salad with blueberries, blackberries, raspberry, and when you do this, I think you want me to stop talking about politics. Thanks, Elsa, though. I don't know that that's you just telling us what's good to eat. Thank you. I'm not going to question you. Thank you for being here, Elsa. I'm going to do my prayer list. Wait, here's my, I took my sticker off my counter. I thought I was going to have to scrape it off, and I didn't have to. It peeled right off my marble countertop, and I stuck it on my journal. See? I'm like, I didn't mess up my sticker. Okay. Because I'm moving out, and I'm moving to California, and I'm so excited. So let me do my prayer list and put Elsa on it. It says 5 watching now. Thank you for being here. You don't have to chat in the chat if you don't want to. But you're eating. Okay. Thank you for telling me. Yes, I'm still going to be like Friday will be, we'll just talk about anything on Friday, but Friday will be light. Red's light. Dinner with Red is light. Mondays will be, now Mondays are going to be poetry, prayer, and politics. Okay, so be warned. Be warned. I already have more viewers by this time. 5. Like Friday, I was, I didn't even have anybody come in the chat for like, I don't know. It was like 30 minutes. It was like I'm like, where is everybody? I try not to be like disappointed, but I'm like, where is everybody? And it's been like that. And also my watch time has been going down. And when my watch time went up, when I started talking about politics, it was October. It was last October. And I am sad that it took me that long to really speak out. But I'm glad I spoke out when I did. And you guys, I was depressed. I was depressed last summer. I was working I didn't like my job. I was working I did when I first started it. And I was proud of myself for getting a regular job finally. So like I was doing Airbnb in 2017 to 2019 because I couldn't find a regular job before the pandemic. I think I could easily find a job anywhere now. But before the pandemic, and I hadn't worked at a regular job in, almost in like 30 years, over 30 years, since I hadn't worked at a regular job since 1987 when I gave birth to my firstborn child. I worked in a doctor's office. And so, yeah. And so I was doing Airbnb, and I wasn't talking about politics. And then I got upset when I had this guy that believed we did 9/11 to ourselves. And I was just like, what? And then my J-Lo, I need to say some poems from Airbnb poems that I have and read. J-Lo, she was a young girl who was at my Airbnb for probably probably like 3 weeks or something like that. Almost, she was like a long-term guest, but then she couldn't afford it anymore. She quit her job, or she got fired from her job, and couldn't afford it. And I've been like, all this time since ever I separated from my husband and got divorced from my husband, moved out of this house, got divorced from my husband, and then in 2020 left Georgia. I've been slowly but surely progressing in my codependency. So I let her leave my Airbnb instead of, I gave her a lot of breaks though. I did. My Airbnb was cheap. A lot of people liked my Airbnb because it was not too expensive. It was cheaper. It was cheaper, definitely cheaper than a hotel. And Airbnbs are still cheaper than hotels. So I might stay at an Airbnb for like a month when I go to San Diego, so I can look for a place to stay, because I am very particular now about my roommates. And I only want one roommate. I want it to be a female. I want it to be someone closer to my age, or I don't want a roommate at all. So it's going to be tricky. I'm going to be very particular. Excuse me. So anyways, J-Lo went along with this guy and was like, yeah, because of how the buildings felt. And I'm like, wait, you're telling me the government, we did 9/11 to ourselves. Some people, I guess, believe this conspiracy theory. And, oh, well, good news. I was kind of Islamophobic in 2001. And I probably, I would have never left my husband in 2001 either. I was so codependent, and, my kids and my family, and I had to keep them all together, and my religious dogma, I couldn't leave my husband. That's why I stayed with him for so long. But I was also very Islamophobic, so I would not have dated Muhammad. But anyways, that came later. But this guy believed we did 9/11 to ourselves, like the guy that got sued, the InfoWars guy. And that was offensive to me, and it ticked me off, and it was very hard for me not to say too much. And then J-Lo went along with it. Yeah, because of how the buildings felt. And I was like, what the heck? And I'm like, you mean to tell me, J-Lo, your dad works for the military? Terry, does he believe this too? He works for the government that did that to himself? Did he fight in that war after we did that to ourselves? Not that, I don't know. There's just so much. There's so much. I feel like it's opening a can of worms to talk about politics, but sometimes unpleasant things are necessary to talk about. And I feel like, I don't know. The Bible in Ecclesiastes says there's a time to be silent and a time to speak. I feel like it's my time to speak. And like ever since I started talking about it in October, even Albert noticed it. That after I started talking about it, he noticed that I was better. And he's like, when he came to eat, because he would come to my apartment and I cook him dinner on a Sunday, like about once a month. And when he came like October, November, or whatever, and we were talking about all this stuff, and he said, well, I don't know, but he's like, I've been coming here to eat, and this is the happiest I've ever seen you. And so something about being, and I was watching I'll drop the link. I'm going to start dropping some links in the comment section here. Okay. And I was watching Mela. I don't know how to say her name. And it's called, but her podcast is called The Breakdown. I think that's what it's called. Wait, no, there's another one. Not that one. She's Jewish. Okay, she had Martha Beck on, and this was so good. And you know what she was talking about? She was talking about how lying makes us miserable. I'm sure. When did I watch this? So she was talking about how you lie and it's not good for your mental health and it makes you anxious. And I was like, that's it. That's why I felt so better, because first off, it took me a little while to come out of the depression, but in June, I was working at the pool being a lifeguard, but I was absolutely hating it. It started because, well, it started before they got out of school, but not all of them, but some of the teenagers I work with were very difficult to work with. And I was just like, this is really annoying. And, like a little girl, like maybe this much off. I let her go down the slide. She was fine. Good swimmer. Fine. It's not, where I worked at the pool only went up to like 5 feet deep, I think, or 4 feet deep. So I didn't even have to have because I probably would not have passed, honestly, to be honest. I didn't have to have a deep water Red Cross certification. I only had the shallow water certification. So, but I was proud of myself for getting that. But she can stand up, at the bottom. But it's kind of like, churning. But I let her, she'd been down the slide 5 times. She was fine. She wasn't going to drown at the bottom of the slide. The teenagers come in. I'm head guard. You're too short, and get into this whole fight with the mom. I'm like, that's nice. They're probably never going to come back here. And I'm just like, these are things, and I couldn't say anything. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's, so ridiculous. It's just unnecessary, and so stuff like that. And it just kept happening and kept happening and kept happening. And I was miserable. I was getting to be miserable in my job. I didn't say too much on here, but so I was miserable there. So I wasn't really being honest with myself. My watch time was going down on YouTube. I didn't have any time to write. I'm working at this job I don't like for $15 an hour. My rent's still too much. I'm not changing that, And I was so depressed and anxious that I didn't even want to go to California. I went to San Diego. I had a trip planned to San Diego. But I quit. I was going to go back to my job. I was going to try to stay at that job for a year. But then they said, your certification needs to be updated. And it's like, I haven't even had it for a year. It says it was, when I got it, you said it was good for 2 years, but it's not good for 2 years. You have to update it. And so I'm like, I'm not going to stay at this job. I'm just going to quit. Before I was just so miserable. And I was even still depressed when I went to California, and I was anxious. And I did admit that. on my way to California, I did a little video on the way, and said, that I'm having anxiety about driving and stuff. And that was the whole thing with when I decided to sell my RV. I was having anxiety about driving my RV. And then I had so much anxiety about the bully on YouTube. And I was just like, do I want to even stay on YouTube? So I almost quit YouTube, but I decided not to do that. But anyways, it was just a lot of stuff. I've been through a lot of stuff, you guys. So anyways, so after I had the guy at my Airbnb that got me pissed off about politics, I put on my Airbnb, Red's Airbnb site on Airbnb, one of the rules at Red's is no talking politics. Well, guess what then happens? Of course. A lovely couple in the Christian church. He was a pastor. They had 5 kids, I think, like us, but they only had their 2 youngest with it. She was about my age too, I think. I think he was older than her. So he was like older than me, and I think she was younger than me because she was like 10 years younger than him. And they were from Canada. And she very, very carefully brought the subject up. And she said, can I ask you what this was like must have been 2018. I did Airbnb from 2017 to November 2017 till like July 2019. So it must have been around that time, 2017, 2018. She wanted to know my opinion on the president. They don't even live in the United States. They live in Canada, which is now going to be the 51st state, right? Oh my goodness. I am just like watching like every day. It's like so ridiculous, the stuff going on. And I can't believe that people that voted for this are still like cool with, getting rid of DEI, pardoning people who brutalized the Capitol Police. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I'm very passionate about this. And so like, I need to talk about stuff I'm passionate about. And stay tuned because I will be writing poems about it. See, that's another thing that's happened to me in these past few years because so much has happened that's just so demoralizing to me. Like my What Elephant book being, basically sold in from Page Publishing and not getting, royalties from it. So that, and my relationship with my kids has been so difficult, and just there's been good things too, like getting the money from my dad passed away in 2020, and then I got my inheritance finally in 2022. But that was like pulling teeth too. That was difficult. Chemicals in the pool. Well, yeah, I still swim in the pool. I haven't been swimming lately though. I swim at a different pool because I felt awkward to go back and swim at that pool. So, but yeah, there were a lot of chemicals in there. But I don't know how much they affected me really. But I did start to have concerns because when I learned to test the water, that was something too. It's like gave me so much anxiety. I didn't know how to test the water, and I never thought it was right. I felt like I was taking a chemistry test again, and I almost failed. I almost didn't graduate because I almost failed chemistry in the 12th grade. And I actually think I might have failed, but my sweet, nice, what was his name? My chemistry teacher knew that if I didn't have that credit, I wouldn't graduate. So I think I might have failed, actually. I was so upset because I was dating my ex, and our dating relationship was always rocky. Our relationship was always rocky. 30 years of rockiness. So yeah. Glad I'm over with that. Yeah. And I started dating him when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. So yep. Absolutely. So I had this rule, no talking politics at Red's Airbnb, and in come this lovely couple. Oh, it was so funny because I had my flute setting on the table, and their two youngest were teenagers, and they were on their way for vacation in Florida. And it was about they're snowed in up there, and I don't remember what time. I don't know if this was 2019 or 2018. But it was before or after Muhammad. Muhammad was August 2018. But so they're two teenagers, and I had my flute setting on the coffee table. And if anybody said, "Oh, do you play the flute?" I would pick it up and play something, like. Well, sometimes I play that, or I play. Well, I played that one for those guys, and it turned out that that one of their sons were Lord of the Rings fans, so he about hobbits, I don't even know the name of the song, I just learned it from listening to it. And the singer that I liked that ended up being married was called the Rock Hobbit. So that's really why I learned that song. I didn't even know it was called about hobbits, but they, I ended up playing that tune for them, and they loved Lord of the Rings. They were big Lord of the Rings fans, and they would have known Jesus Loves Me Too because their dad was a pastor. But anyway, so the woman very tentatively brings up, we're a house divided, and guess what they were divided on? The U.S.'s president. And she didn't like him because she was very liberal, seemed very feminist, and talks about how it was kind of scandalous for her to date the pastor because she was rollerblading around I don't remember what part of Canada they were from, but I can't remember. But yeah, because she was younger than him and everything, so she's kind of liberal, and she's and her husband liked him, and then I was don't like him, and I was holding all that anger in, I was holding all that anger in, and I didn't say in the video I just posted before going live about salad and politics, I didn't say what the question was, and I was trying to think too, because this was a couple of weeks ago. And see, I didn't want to bring it up. I'm still having that struggle with, do I talk about it? People are going to get mad, and I still have that struggle. I do, but I'm going to be brave. I'm going to talk about it. So, I didn't say anything for weeks about that story I told on salad and politics. And so I was trying to remember today, what was the question and what was my answer? How did the politics come up? Well, I think the question was, because it was about the story, and the sermon was about Jesus's family losing him in the temple because losing him in Jerusalem when they went for the Passover, and he was in the temple, and they go with their caravan, don't know how, you have to think about how things are, how things were back then. You know, they didn't have cars and all of that. And they're traveling with a big group of people. And so he's 12 and they probably thought he's with cousin so-and-so. I should have wrote down where that was in the Bible, but you can look it up. Bible Gateway is a good one. Oh, I was going to share this video. Let me share it. This is Martha Beck on. Here's the video about telling the truth. And it's Martha Beck, and she was Oprah's life coach. On Malik, I can't. I don't know how to say her name. Dr. Malik, the girl that used to play Blossom on TV. Does anybody remember that? So this is the video I'm sharing on you have to tell the truth because lying causes you anxiety. I'm like, oh goodness, no wonder the people I lie are so, the people who lie are so messed up in the head. They just live with a cognitive dissonance. So anyways, the story about Jesus, they lost sight of Jesus and they go back and, you know, they find out he's not with their caravan. So they have to go back to Jerusalem and find Jesus, 12-year-old Jesus. And he's teaching in the temple. And he's like, didn't you know I'd be, you know, in my Father's house, you know, teaching. And so the pastor, my pastor, Quinn's question was, has there ever been a time when you lost sight of Jesus? So that was his question. And he's like, discuss it with the people, you know, behind you or in front of you. It's a small church. And these people were sitting behind me. And like a friend, Eileen, was sitting in front of me. And she's like, well, I'm going to go over there. So you talk to those people behind you. And so I turned around and said, I think this is what I was thinking and why it came up. I said, in 2016, well, it was 2019 actually, but I was mad about a lot of things in 2019. And they say that depression, they say a lot of times that depression comes from anger turned inward. And some people argue with that. I remember Conda Pierce talking about her depression and saying, the doctor, you know, the therapist said that to her. Don't say that to me. It's making me angry. If you keep saying I'm angry, I'm going to get angry. She's funny. She's a conservative too. Endorsed, went along with shared Danny Gokey's post endorsing, vote your conscience, vote pro-life, vote for, you know, basically saying vote for, I'm not saying vote for Trump, but vote your conscience, vote for pro-life. Vote for a rapist and a 34-count felon because they're so pro-life. Ridiculous. So anyways, that was the question. And that's how it came up, because I said, I lost sight of Jesus because I was angry about all of these things. I was angry about Christians endorsing Trump and liking Trump and saying Trump was good, or the chosen one. I was angry about that. I was angry about my kids not talking to me. I was angry about how my kids were treating me, how my ex was treating me, I was angry and I took the baby with the bathwater and I threw out the baby with the bathwater. I was like, okay, I'm a agnostic now. I don't know. I don't go to church. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I was very lonely. And I also was traumatized by the date rape, which happened in August 2017. And then I was upset about Mohammed, which happened in August 2018. So in August 2019, I was acting out because of all of these things. And I did a video where I talked about it. And I at that point, since I got with my husband when I was 17 and then married him when I was 19, I had only been with my husband. And then I get date rape. I was upset about that too. I was upset about the date rape, which happened in 2017. And I'm already mad that there's a sexual offender in the White House, and then I get date raped. So I was just pissed. But like Quinn's question, I had lost sight of Jesus. And this is how the politics came into that question. And then this person said, oh, I didn't like either one of them. And I really, when people say that, when choosing between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, that song from The Wizard of Oz comes to my mind. I'm sorry, but it does. If I only had a brain, if I only would research who this person is, if I only would look into who is already the vice president, the first woman vice president of the United States, which means, you know why? Trump's followers, some of those crazy people say, oh, nobody's trying to shoot Biden. Yeah, because they don't want Kamala to be, she would have been president if someone shot Biden. Nobody would. They're wanting to shoot him because he's so great. Those were his, no, I don't. I'm going to get all fired up again. Thank you for being here, Elsa. Thank you for being in my chat, Elsa. It says for watching. Thank you all for watching, whoever you are. Thank you for listening. So yeah, I get very passionate about this. And I've almost gone an hour. So anyways, that's how we got on the subject of politics. And this person saying, because, I'm tired of people also shouldn't say half the country voted for Trump, because that is not true. Stop saying that. He doesn't have a mandate. Like, so many people were deceived. And I think it was you can look up the numbers. You can look up the numbers of who voted for whom and how many voted for a third party. And I think it was 2 million people. So it's not half the country is not for Trump. Half the country is not for Trump. So don't say that. Stop saying that. So if those people that had voted third party, those people that threw their vote away, those people who didn't get informed or perhaps are racist or misogynistic and didn't want a Black person or a woman to be president, if those people who voted third party would have voted for Kamala, Kamala would have won. Simple as that. So, yeah. And I want to drop some more links. And I need to say a poem. So that's a very good. So another channel I like. And so I have all the channels, political channels in my featured channels. If you go to that, you can find it. There's this guy named Culture, Faith, and Politics. This guy named Pat has a good channel, and he wrote a book too. And his name is Pat Conke. And I just watched a video by him. This is very good channel that I'm going to drop. And also Jessica Denson. Let me see how you spell his name. It's Kahnke. It's called Culture, Faith, and Politics. And the guy's name is Pat. Kahnke. Conke. I need to hear him say his name. I'm probably saying it wrong. Oh, and I found a new one. You guys, I found a new one. And he's Paul in Texas. I also watched Blue Dot in Texas. Texas Paul is called. Another. But, I don't necessarily agree with every single thing, every Democrat or, but mostly. I watch Blue Dot in Texas sometimes, and I even have seen someone I know from Glorious Life on Wheels over there. Which there are, I seem to have been, I don't know what it is. It seems like I attract narcissists and MAGA people. I'm trying to change that, though. I really am. It seems like a lot of van life people I met were MAGA and ended up being MAGA. And so they've kind of fallen by the wayside when I started talking about, that I'm a liberal, actually. And I just started talking about this in October. So, and I had my head in this, like when Biden won too, and I had just left Georgia and I was traveling in my RV. I still didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it on my channel. I talked about faith, but I didn't really want to talk too much about the politics. But I'm glad I started talking about it. And I really, my channel started getting more views when I did. So this is Texas Paul. But he's okay. But who I really like, and is my featured channels, is Jessica Denson and Politics Girl. Politics Girl is awesome. I am a feminist. And so I like the women. Drowning in Lies, yes. I can't keep up with all these channels. I like Tennessee Brando. I don't have that in my featured channels, though. Let's do Boy Girl, Boy Girl. But we have to stay informed, and we have to write our Congress people. We have to, you guys, please vote and write to them. I'm changing states. So, but I hope to get involved again. I canvassed for a local Democrats and for Kamala Harris here, and I didn't need to really. It was cool though. Some people I met when I was canvassing for Kamala. Some people I met, they went to Arizona and canvassed for her there, and that's another reason why I feel bad. If I had not spoke out, if I had not started speaking out, I feel like, not that I was sad. I was sad that she did not win. And Jessica Denson talks about this a lot, that she thinks it was rigged. Some people really do think that it was rigged. And so Wookiefoot, who are you? Is that a song? Okay, we'll check it out. Thank you, Elsa. Thank you for being here. So let's do Tennessee Brando next. Because Politics Girls is in my feature channel. I'm not sure if Tennessee Brando is. But he's really good and up on things. And the horrible guy, Pete Hegseth, was confirmed. It's like it's a circus. It's ridiculous. And then, and still this van lifer is like, Trump's taking out the garbage, and it's Biden and Harris, and I'm just like, wake up, please wake up. Please wake up. It's like insane. It's nonsense. What did I do here? There's Tennessee Brando. So I was talking about, I'll drop one of my links to one of my videos too. When I was talking about when I was away from God. So I kind of like sowed my wild oats when I was older. And I found out I wasn't. When I was having the trouble in the Celebrate Recovery, this lady that led it, she probably still leads it, because they like people like that. They're all MAGA at that church, I'm pretty sure. mostly. Tried to send me to the sex addicts class. And at first I went to it, and it's like, as someone who's 50 years old and's only been with her husband, that's a sex addict? Maybe a love addict, maybe like that, but because I would like maybe like have an affair like in my mind with someone and like be attracted to someone else because my husband was treating me badly, and I was sort of, it's like, oh, he's not physically, hitting me, but he's disrespecting me, and he's teaching the kids to disrespect me. And I just felt so alone in my marriage. And so I maybe was like a love addict, but I never cheated on him or anything. And so for her to send me there, but so when I had this break, when I deconstructed and kind of sowed my wild oats in 2019, because August was coming, and I was just like, I couldn't bear it anymore. August was going to be the anniversary of the fake guy who I slept with him, and that was like, he was the second guy I slept with. I don't count the date rape. So he was the second man I've ever been with. And I really fell for Muhammad. I really did. But then having that hurt in August 2018, then August was coming. I wasn't talking to my kids, even the ones who were in Georgia. My daughter that was not in Georgia, she was Oklahoma, stationed in Oklahoma in the Army at that time, came to Georgia with her husband and didn't even come see me. And that's what that just sent me down the spiral. I was like suicidal. It was awful. My son met them, and he came to see me. My son that was in Denver came with his girlfriend and came to see me in Georgia. And but I was so depressed that July, and then August was coming, and that's when I decided, at that point, I had been with my husband, I had been date raped, and then I had been almost fooled by a man who wanted a green card, and fell for the man who wanted the green card. He was nice. He was nice, and he was handsome, and he was a doctor. And but I'm going to share with you that video. So it's a live that has a picture of my eye on it. It's one of my popular lives, not most popular lives, but I'm going to share it on my community tab too. But in it, I'm very vulnerable, and I was at Coronado. I was in San Diego when I did this live too. I was in San Diego. I was at Coronado Island. When I was at my brother's, I went down to San Diego from Los Angeles. And so I was in Coronado. I think this is my 6th live. I had my lives. I was counting my lives. And speaking of Canada, a van lifer in Canada, I won't say any names, a van lifer in Canada, but she ties into my whole YouTube journey, and she very much is tied into my whole YouTube journey. That's all I'll say. A van lifer in Canada comes on my live and interviews me and interrogates me, actually. And I tell her everything. And then my friend in Oregon, my van lifer friend in Oregon, my gay friend in Oregon, is trying to get me to shut up. So it's very entertaining, you guys. My tell all. I'm putting it on my community tab. From 20. I was at Coronado Island is in San Diego. Okay. And I'm going to drop it in the So it's an interview with Van Vita Travels. And I talk about my Tramp page. And so I found out that I'm definitely not a sex. It was bad. Anyways, I felt like it brought me out of my depression. I talk about it in the interview with Box Van D. I'll share that video too. I'll share that video with you too. That was my top video for a while, for a couple years. My interview with Box Van D, I did right after Life with Lee took her own life, a van lifer. And because she was being bullied on YouTube, and her bully got other people to come to her page too and harass her. Now, my bullying didn't really go that. I mean, he had more than one person though harassing me and following me around from live to live, but at least they weren't as bad as that. Like lots of people, I think, were bullying her because of what this other van lifer was saying, and then she threw herself in front of a train in Santa Barbara. So sad. And so I did this video on suicide and depression with Box Van D, and that was in 2021 also. That was April 2021 also. I think when I went to Coronado, I think that was March maybe. I'm not sure exactly the time. It was around the same time, actually. But yeah, so when I talked about, I called it the Trampage, which was August 2019. I talked about it in this interview. So check it out. Check it out. So it's live from Red's RV at Coronado Island, California, interview with Paula. So, and then let me do the Box Van D one. If you go to my videos and click on popular, yeah, the Box Van D one is at 1.8 thousand views from 3 years ago. Another van lifer's house. This is my second most popular long video. My most popular videos are shorts. Did So it's my second most popular long video from 2021. I did this after the death of Life with Lee. I'm posting it on I'm posting it on my community tab also. Talk with Box Van D, suicide and depression. Okay. All right. I need to say some poems, and I'm going to share with you the link to Jessica Denson. And her podcast is called Lights On. There we go. I didn't bring me my root beer over here. I meant to. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for being here, Elsa. I'm glad your phone's still working. I'm going to say some poems next. Let me open up my my new book of poetry. So okay, I was going to say one about my let me see. Oh, let me read this. Red runs till she's blue. I'm going to go get I'm going to go get my root beer. I'll be right back. My lovely sofa. I'm back. I've been so busy, y'all, since my separation and since my divorce. Like, I've been all over the place, and I went to Europe. I finally got a regular job when I was lifeguarding. I was kind of upset. That my daughter said she invited me to move by her because I was just sitting in Denver doing nothing, all alone and doing nothing. And ever since, there are times I've felt all alone since my separation and divorce. Definitely, I have felt all alone and been lonely. That was another reason for the Trampage. That's what this link is below. If you're interested in that, if you want to hear about Red's Trampage, it was bad. Yeah. It did bring me out of my depression though somewhat. And I stopped, and in 2020, I had stopped. And what happened was I had stopped chasing after my kids. I had, before that, forget about, trying to get my ex back. I didn't want him back, but I wanted my kids back, But I had stopped chasing after them when that happened, and that was a good thing. And then when I left, when I was getting ready to leave Georgia, I said this, I think I said this on Friday. It's like they must have known, because I was selling all this stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and mostly, I think I did make my Facebook private for a time though, but my page on Facebook, there's links below. There's a link to my Redheaded Riding Hood Facebook anyways, not a link to my personal Facebook. But I don't really accept a lot of friend requests unless I know you on my personal page. But mostly it's all public. And I'm just like, how could they not have known? Because I put my house for sale in June. Before that, I would have like 100 items, big items. I would have little knickknacks. I had dolls. I had stuffed animals. I still have a big bag of stuffed animals. But I had tons of stuffed animals, little ones that would talk, that my mom sent my kids. I kept like the little skunk I've showed you guys before. It's in my bag of stuff. I packed up 2 boxes already. That's about all the boxes I'm going to have. Well, I'm going to need to have one more, but it's going to be smaller. But I packed up 2 big plastic bins already, with a lot of my stuff is packed up already to go in my car when I go to California at the end of the next month. So I had stuffed animals. I had Barbie dolls. I had regular dolls. I had an owl collection, a cross collection, a lighthouse collection. I had so much stuff. Like I said, I'm thinking of doing a video on it. And so I was selling like all this stuff. And so it's like they must have known, but they never did message me, except for, this was funny. My ex texted me at the end, "So you still have that silverware from your mom?" And I was just so bogged down with like everything. Like I said, the stuff at the end, I was just getting rid of. Like, I was going to buy my RV in Georgia, and then I was like, forget it. I can't do that. I can't buy it here. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go up to Gladys's and buy the RV up there. So I left. Took me 3 weeks. I sold my house on August 28th, and then I left Georgia on September 22nd. My dad passed away September 21st, the night before I left Georgia. And I felt like that was God's timing, and I was trying to get to California to see him before he passed, but we had a really difficult relationship, and I really wasn't talking to him that much, and my stepmother was really, really made it just more awkward and more difficult. And so he passed away the night before I left Georgia. I ended up not getting to California. I got to California in December. But September, I left Georgia. And then October, I bought my RV. And then in November, I left St. Louis in my RV. I had sold my car and everything. So I have been busy. So let me read you a poem about how busy I was, especially in Georgia. I kept looking for a job. Even when I started doing Airbnb, I was looking for a job, because doing Airbnb was harder than I thought. And I always was nervous about letting strangers in my house, complete strangers. And for a few times, I thought about doing only women and couples. But then I had the nicest, men. Some were creepy. I had a male nurse. He was from Florida, very creepy guy, not even attractive. Come on to me. Oh my goodness. He got drunk too. I don't think he could even go into work the first night there because he was drunk. He told me he was married too. It was like, and it's just like, this is crazy. It's like you're the hosting this person, so you can't be rude. And, this person is going to give you a review. It was so awkward. It was so awkward. So doing the Airbnb, I still was looking for a job and I was driving for Uber and Lyft. And so this poem is called Red Runs Until She's Blue. Red runs till she's blue. Can it be true? What to do? I want to run free of you. Drive for Uber, drive for Lyft, donate blood plasma. I need no one, but I want to be independent, but I want to travel, buy stuff for my Airbnb home. I was trying to fix, my house, but I really couldn't afford it. I had a Lowe's card that came out of my husband. The payment on it came out of my husband's account. So I bought my refrigerator because there was a refrigerator in the house that we had rented out, but it was broken and it didn't work. So I had to get a new refrigerator, and I think I bought a washer and dryer on Marketplace. So buy stuff for my Airbnb home, tax write-off, look pretty, walk tall, don't fall, or go bankrupt. Pass go, go slow, pay it off, save it up. Work it, girl, will prosper and be free at last. So, yeah, I was in credit card debt too. So like I said, I had that Lowe's card, and then I opened more cards. I opened a PayPal credit card. And then when I started doing Airbnb, I got the shower didn't work. Like I had 2 bathrooms, but the second bathroom that had a shower in it was leaking under the house, and it was like all going under the house, and like you couldn't use that shower. So it was 1 bathroom in a 3-bedroom house. And there was a toilet and a sink in the other bathroom. But, something did break with the toilet. And so I called in the contractors to fix that. And I put it on my PayPal credit card. And I did, when I finally did my taxes for 2018 in 2022 is when I did them. I did 4 years of taxes, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Before I left St. Louis, I was able to write that part off. So that was good. But so yeah, that's a poem that's kind of about what I was doing when I was still in Georgia trying to. And then so when I sold my house, I was able to pay off my debt. And so that was wonderful. Okay. Here's my one about the Airbnb. Bedtime Stories with Red. This is called Bedtime Stories with Red. It's about my Airbnb. I know God sent you here. It's called Bedtime Stories with Red. I know God sent you here for a blessing or a lesson. So welcome to Red's. It's a comfortable bed, like sleeping on a cloud. A powerful shower. This is from real, actual Airbnb reviews, which are still there because I was on Airbnb. I'm going to get an Airbnb when I go to San Diego the end of next month. So I was on Airbnb and I'm like, they're still here. All my reviews from when I had my Airbnb in Georgia are still there. It's a comfortable bed, and these are from actual reviews. Sleeping on a cloud. Someone said that about the bed. A powerful shower to peel the paint off a Volvo. One of my guys that came regularly said that about my shower. Cupcakes and M&Ms, chicken pot pie or pot roast, coffee or tea. Sit by the fire and talk to me. Want to hear a story about the Syrian who broke my heart? That's my green card guy. The Russian who slept on my porch? True story. The Chinese exchange student who solved my Rubik's Cube? my J-Lo who was filled with wisdom, the millionaire who wouldn't buy my book. That's this book. Good thing too. I didn't end up getting the royalties for it anyways. The adorable actor who played John Wilkes Booth. He was in the show Sleepy Hollow. The model and author who stopped sex trafficking. Blue can tell you about her boring hotel. So the girl, Amber, that young girl who stayed at was a long-term guest for a few months at my Airbnb, had blue hair. So we were red and blue. And then Gladys's dog was blue. So me and Blue were red and blue again. Blue can tell you about her boring hotel. She worked at a hotel. But Red's is much more fun and cheaper too, with better and healthier food for you. You'll hear about my Georgia Tech boys, how they could eat. The airmen and the workers, Gladys and the nurse with the stuff, sweet Jenny, whose car I scratched, the heartbroken Marine, the lady with one leg and two names. True story. My superhost friend escaped from Flo. My friend was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I met her on the mission trip to Mexico. The Fair Girls were here for the hurricane too. Cannabis lady and her dog Dude. She was from Colorado, but she was moving back to Florida because her family lived there. But she worked in the cannabis greenhouses here in Colorado. They warned me about my boo, about Mohammed. Now I say thank you. 2 guys booked for Valentine's Day, but I scared them away. Southern hospitality from a Southern Cali lady. Y'all come back now, you hear? So I think I'm going to pray and let you all go. Did I scare some people away? I'm glad I didn't scare you away, Elsa. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I will be back Friday. I still haven't, I'm almost gone 2 hours. So let me say one I know by heart. It's called The Haunting. It's in the 7-Story Tree. I could just run away, try to live my way another day, but what would be the use? Wasted time, a wasted life. But then again, I could give it all to him, and he transforms it. If I move to the left or to the right, you're halfway there, or perhaps not quite. I hear him all the time. I open my eyes, and he lights up the sky. In a song, I see him. In a tree, he's there. What is this love he has for me? Wherever I go, to a movie or a show, there isn't a thought he doesn't know. He is the great I am, and yet he is my friend. It's too wonderful to comprehend. He'll always be there till the end. When we've been there 10,000 years, his voice will echo in my ears. Still his praises I will sing. Always and forever, he is my king. Jim, hi. Where are you? Oh, you're at Padre Island. Oh, cool. I didn't go there. I went to the beach in 2023. I finally went to the beach in Texas. So I lived in Florida, and I lived in California, and I lived in Texas for 6 months, and I saved up money to go back to Florida to my husband, my boyfriend, who was my husband to be, who's now my ex. Same one. When I was 18, my parents moved to Texas. My dad was actually trying to break my husband. He's like, I'm in control of her. I don't want you in control of her. I always say I went out of the frying pan into the fire. From the control of one narcissistic man to the control of another covert narcissistic man. So I lived in Texas for a while, but had never been to the beach. So I hear it's really beautiful there. But I went to Corpus Christi. So I went to Texas in my RAV in 2023 in February. I went to see my youngest. Lydia, and she's in the Air Force, and she's in San Antonio. So I went to see her in 2023, and it didn't go too well. Like I said, 2025, I'm not chasing my children. Like, y'all know my number. I still have that old Georgia number. Like, call me, text me. But I'm not. It didn't go very well when I went to see my daughter. So I decided to go to. I went to Houston to see a van life friend too. But first I went to Corpus Christi to check out the beach in Texas. But I still love the beach in California best, and I like the beach in Florida. Boca Raton has beautiful beaches. That's where I used to live. And in ninth grade, Boca Raton High School, they called me Mermaid. And that was before the Little Mermaid, Disney gave the Little Mermaid red hair. My mom thought that was funny. She's like, oh, she's nosy. She read my yearbook. Oh gosh, my daughters would have killed me if I ever read what was written in their yearbooks. But yeah, they even like wrote it in my yearbook that year when I was in ninth grade. They called me. Yeah, but I hear that Padre Island's nicer than. I think I was watching Alyssa Vanilla, and she went there. So I think that's a nicer beach is Padre Island, but I haven't been there. But you got a signal. That's good. It was weird that I found when I was traveling, especially while it was California, is the only time I camped at Carpinteria, where we used to camp when I was a kid. We used to go up to Carpinteria, and it's only like a couple of hours from where we were in the valley. It's only like a little over an hour from when I fled my brothers actually when we had an argument and had a falling out, and his tenant was accusing me of crap I didn't do. Like, she said I filmed her grandchildren. She was basically, this is what I say now. It rhymes and I'm a poet, right? The hoe said, you've got to go. So my brother's hoe said, you got to go. Oops, my bad. But yeah. So I had no idea. I'm still like, it's like a nice quality, isn't it? I'm still sometimes very naive, and I didn't really have any inkling. I didn't think that my brother was, I didn't think my brother was hooking up already, because his wife had just died in January and this was April. So in the beginning of January, but a couple days after January 6th, honestly, it was very awkward I was in my brother's house when Biden was inaugurated. My brother was not very happy that Biden won. I don't know if he thought the election was stolen or anything. I tried not to talk about it. My nephew is a pot stirrer, and would always want to bring it up. I talked about it a little bit with my sister-in-law, but I just would not. He still had his Trump calendar hanging on the wall. I'm like, can I pull this down? It's not whatever 2020 anymore. It's not, I don't know what year it was from, but he had kept it hanging up there, and it was 2021 when I was in the house and I was taking care of my sister-in-law. I was sick. So it looks very beautiful there. So I was watching Alyssa Vanilla, and she was on the beach. Are there waves there? She was at a place. She was like, I didn't feel like I was really at the beach, because I think she was at like a little inlet and there weren't any waves. And then she went to where there were waves, because that's what I loved when I was a kid. And I would kind of like ride the waves, because we had these inflatable. I don't think they make them like this anymore. It was like a rectangle. It was kind of like a boogie board, but you blew it up. We would get them every summer and use them usually for one summer, like when we went camping or whatever. And okay, windy and sort of dreary today. stormy out there. Okay. She was somewhere, and then she moved. Alyssa Vanilla was somewhere where there weren't any waves, so I think she was like in sort of an inlet. I think there's a place where there's a park that I went to in San Diego that was like that, and I was like, oh, there's no waves. It was sort of like a little inlet or a little bay, and but she moved because like when we camped at Carpinteria, so we would ride the waves all day, and then you go to sleep and you still feel like and you can hear the waves, and it was just so nice. So I went in my RV. I don't think I could hear the waves where I was. And also when I camped at Coronado Island, I couldn't, I don't think I could really hear the waves because I didn't get a place that was like right on the beach. But when we were camping when I was a kid, we got a place that was right there, like right on the beach. Really close, not like in the sand though, but there's places like there's a campground, and then there's places, I think the spaces are more too, that are like right on the beach. And then like in my RV, I was usually on the other side because I got a cheaper spot, and I never booked anything ahead of time. And when I first went to my brother's, Carpinteria was closed because of the pandemic. And a lot of places I tried to camp at. I tried to go camp at a place in the closest beach to them is I have a video of it. Ventura. I tried to camp at a place in Ventura, but it was closed for a while too because of the pandemic. LA was shut down. I got to LA in December 2020, and it was shut down. Shut down tight. Went out to Big Bend National Park. Hiked along the Rio Grande. Oh, cool. 2 days ago, stepped across into Mexico for a second. Oh, wow. I've never been there. So we would always camp in California. So I lived in California until I was 12. When we camped, it was, I'm telling you, it was so miserable. When we moved to the East Coast and we camped on the East Coast, oh my goodness. It's hot at night. It stays hot at night on the East Coast. Like, you know this because you're from Alabama and you live in Georgia. It was nothing like camping in California. It was nothing like it. We would camp. Oh, and it rained, and like rainy season is not in the summer, and that's usually when California is burning in the summer. But now they're not having any rain any time. And so now California is burning in the winter. But so we go in the summer, and it cool, even though it gets hot. And it was funny because I was messaging my friend in Italy, Valentina, on WhatsApp. It's funny. So it's like, all I know about California is very hot. And I'm like, no. That's Florida. It's very hot. That's Georgia. It's very hot. California is all sorts of things. You got the beach, you got the mountains, you got the desert, you got snow, you got the beach, you got everything. And then it cools down at night, which is so wonderful because we would go camping on the East Coast. Like we went up to DC, and then when the summer I graduated, we went up the East Coast, and we went up to Boston, all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts, and I met some of my mom's family because my grandmother was born in Foxborough, Massachusetts, near Boston. And we went all the way up there, and we camped part of the way. And it was picked up my sister, and I don't know if it was Boston or what. She camped a couple nights, but she had like one suitcase for her shoes. She had the big, this was the 80s. This was 1984. She had this big buckle that set off the alarm in the airport. Like those big, like 80s clothes. She had the 80s hair too, big hair. And I've been to Slab City now. I went in my car. I went this last time I went to California because I wanted to go there. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Oh, you camped out there. See, I didn't want to even stop. It was like 150. It was like ridiculous because I was out in California in June. So it was like 115 degrees. It was crazy. One time when we drove out to California with the kids, when we had our Suburban, I think it was when we had 4 kids. When we had the Suburban, we had 4 kids. It seemed like every time we had a girl baby, we had to get a new vehicle. Because then when we had Lydia, our Suburban was breaking down, and we got a van. We got a Chevy van. But one time we were leaving, I think this was 97. We were leaving California and we were driving through the Mojave Desert and it was like 114 degrees and our AC broke and it was a belt. We had to stop and get it fixed in Arizona. And my brother, Paul, who passed in 2002, and I didn't, it was good, had already met us, went to California and met us out there, which was thankfully because when we were coming back through Arizona, we had to get the Suburban fixed. But the AC broke and we're in the middle of the Mojave Desert with 4 kids and it's 114 degrees. And that's how it was. It was like 114 when I went because that was this past June. And I was like, I've never been out there. I went driving through I have videos. I'll share them. I have videos of Salvation Mountain and let me drop them. Let me drop them. I'll drop them like they're hot. I'm trying to share more videos on my community tab, and I'm going because I'm talking about politics again because it really honestly gets more views. I'm passionate about it. Talking about politics brought me out of a depression. Honestly, that's what I'm talking about in June. And it's what I was talking about is that, and that's why is that lying is bad for your mental health. So, yeah. Want to watch my video of, it was after I left, let me see. It was, let's see. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Okay, here it is. This is from, I went to Slab City and Salvation Mountain after I left San Diego. I had a long day of driving because I ended up in Pismo Beach. I left San Diego. I went to Slab City. And Salvation Mountain. It's weird because they don't pay any taxes out there. It is pretty crazy. I had a couple of van life people I knew do videos on it. And then I went through my old neighborhood also. Gosh, it went back to the beginning. So, so I'm having to go back. See, my video I did on, see, back when I was doing the devotions and I was talking about politics, I was getting a lot more views on my devotions even. And then the November 6th elections, I got 162 views on that. That's a lot of views for me. So that's another reason. I guess I just get more views if I talk about something I'm passionate about, you know? Even though it's scary. And then I did, after I went to Salvation Mountain is when I drove through my old neighborhood. Let's see, where is that video at? It's called It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Where I lived when I was 12, till I was 12. In the valley. I'm a valley girl. Valley girl. Like, gag me with a spoon. No, that actually happened after I left there. So God saved me from being a valley girl. Like, gag me with a spoon. The last free, they claim it's the last free place on earth. It just looks like it. I'm not a big fan of the desert either. I don't think I'd ever stay overnight there. I don't know. But yeah, I was able to go. I was driving a long time, and then I did make it. I made it all the way. I think the sun was setting as I was in Sunland in the valley. So I left San Diego. I went east to Salvation Mountain. Then I went sort of northwest towards the valley, the Sunland, Tahunga. And then I kept going north towards Pismo Beach, and I stayed in Aurora Grande where my parents lived before they both passed. So they moved back. They moved from Texas back to the central coast of California, Aurora Grande, Pismo Beach area in 1995. So here's a video of my old neighborhood. Thanks for coming in here, Jim. I appreciate it. So I will be I guess it'll kind of depend on y'all, or I don't know. It depends on where it goes. Like when I do Friday night dinner with Red, it'll be more light, it'll be more light-hearted. Maybe not as much politics. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But I'm going to keep doing this and just see how it goes, because I was honestly getting more views when I was talking about politics. So you went to Palm Springs. Oh, yeah, I went through there. Yeah, I went through Palm Springs. I had never been, we never really went south. So we didn't go. I've been to San Diego maybe one time when I was little. And then we went down to Mexico once when I was a kid. So we usually went north because my grandparents lived in the Bay Area, lived in Hayward, California, and we would go up to Yosemite, and north, just a little bit north, is Carpinteria, where I said we'd camp at the beach in California. So and then like, oh gosh, like I said, camping on the East Coast was just like miserable. We were in Virginia. We were at Washington, D.C., I think, and we were camping somewhere like in Virginia, Maryland or something. There was this torrential rain. This was before we picked up my sister at the airport in Boston. There was this torrential downpour, and I was dating. I didn't really want to go because I was dating. We were going to move to Texas, and I was dating my husband to be at the time. I didn't really want to go. And then I'm in this tent, and it's torrential downpour, and I'm knocking on my parents, like, and they let me sleep in. Like, my dad didn't want to even let me in. Like, no, stay in the tent. I'm like, my dad was so freaking difficult. I'm sorry. He could just really be a jerk sometimes. And I'm like, I couldn't. It was so loud, first of all. And I thought the tent was going to blow away. It was like this torrential, like never happened when we're camping in the summer in California. Never. Like, that song, it never rains in California. It's true. It hardly ever rains. I mean, and speaking of my stepmother, who was a pain, and I was invisible to her mostly. And I was talking about it raining in Georgia or something. So much rain. I wish we could send it to them, And Gina would be like, it hasn't rained in 18 months. She was a real Karen complainer. She was just awful. You didn't tell us you were coming. I did. I told you, it's just like you can't hear me or something. I don't know. I talk on a different frequency than you. I don't understand. We don't know your phone number. We couldn't call you. Like, I've had the same phone number for, Yeah, you have my phone number, but you just didn't want to talk to me. She was so difficult. But yeah, my dad, like, it was rain. It was when I was 17. I just graduated. Like I said, that's when I started dating my husband. So yeah, and I slept in the front seat of their van. They had a thing that, like, bed that pulled out. It was like a bubble top. It was a Chevy van, and they slept up there. And so I slept in the chair in the front seat. It was just a torrential downpour, and that happened again when we were. Yeah, well, I'm thinking, I don't know, but we went into New York City. And I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. My sister must have been 23. And it was like my sister and I walking through New York City would get all the cat calls and the yells. And instead of my dad, I don't know, being protective, or it was just weird. He was just like, haven't they ever seen a woman before? Like, we were just average, normal looking. No, we were hot. I was 17, my sister was 20, and we were hot. We were hot, young, And I remember this bag lady when we were in New York City, walking through New York City. This, crazy old bag lady. She was like, pretty girls, models. She's like, get them out of New York. It was funny. It was hilarious. So yeah, that was my summer of 1984. So yeah, but yeah, we went to Palm Springs in 2021 actually, and took Gladys to show her California, and it was so funny because we say it never rains, it's not going to rain. Don't worry about it. The weather's going to be fine. And she was coming from St. Louis, and I had come from there. I went there for a month to kind of get away from my brother. And I should have just planned on leaving Southern California then. But, I stay in places too long. And I learned this in codependency. It's like we stay in harmful situations too long and, put up with too much crap. And I should have left, maybe it would have salvaged some of the relationship there with my brother if I had left sooner. But anyways, I stayed a little bit longer in California and then left Southern California in April. But in March, and from February to March 2021, for a month, I flew back to St. Louis. And this was when the host swooped in to try and, she was really a gold digger. It's like a compliment to call her a gold digger because she wasn't attractive. She was overweight and not really attractive, but that was when she swooped in and, oh, help me, and it was his friend's mom. And so he let her move into his smaller house, and that's where my RV was parked. But when I came back to California, Gladys was like, oh, I never been, like, she was in the Air Force and she had been like overseas and all that, but she had never been to California. And I'm like, okay, I'll show you around California. Come to California. And we went to Palm Springs. And I was using my sister-in-law's car, the Toyota Solara. I told a story about it in my last devotional. So Stories of Joyce. I can drop that in the link too. But about her flipping her car and then her getting this older Solara. And then he gave it to me, but I sent him the keys and I had the clicker for his gate. I sent them back because I abruptly I'm like, hey, F this. My brother who's treating me like crap and attacking me when I just took care of your dying wife. And I'm just parked here. I'm not bothering your stupid hoe. And she's lying about me. I'm your freaking sister. Like, where was she when your wife was dying? She all of a sudden shows up when I'm in St. Louis. And, and I didn't know. And like I said, I'm still kind of naive at sometimes. I didn't think like he would, and it was funny. I was talking to Troy. He's in the video. My friend Troy from Van Life, my gay friend Troy, he's the one that said to me, he's like, well, at least he's getting some now, because his wife had cancer. I felt bad for him. His candidate law, oh, poor you, your Trumpy didn't win. At least he wasn't storming the Capitol, but he couldn't have been because that's when his wife was dying. And she was in a hospice care. She died on the 9th of January, 2021. So hopefully he wouldn't have been there. I don't know. I hope not. He wouldn't have assaulted a police officer. I know that because he is a police officer. Hopefully not. But I think some of those were police officers that assaulted police officers. I think some of them were, a couple of them. But anyways, so I did feel sorry for him. His candidate lost. It never in my worst nightmare did I, especially after January 6th, did I think he would win again. Never in my worst nightmare. We're living in it now. I felt sorry for him. His candidate lost, and then his wife passed away. I felt sorry for him. And I didn't think, but my friend Troy, my friend I met in Nomadic Rat Pack, who's he's in the interview that I posted earlier, where I'm interviewed by Paula when I'm at Coronado Island in my RV. But he's in this video. He's in this video. My friend Troy goes, well, at least he's getting some. And I was just like, I don't think so. I don't think he's, but then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, okay. And she didn't like me and she wanted me to go. And she's, and he feels guilty that he's already found someone else. And then thankfully, they're not together anymore, thankfully. I heard from my son. My son moved from Denver to live with his cousin, who is my brother's daughter in Oregon. And so my son told me at Christmas that he's dating a Russian now. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's appropriate. Buddy with the Russians, like Trump, right? Okay. And my son's like, they seem happy. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy for him. I hope it works out. At least he's not with the hoe that kicked me off his property. Well, they got him to kick me off his property. But yeah, it was just, like I said, y'all, I've been through a lot of crap, and I'm just happy. I'm happy to be moving to California. I don't know. I might be staying in Airbnbs for a while. I think I'm probably going to, like, what am I going to do? Put everything I own into my car. It's going to make me nervous again about where I park, and like, don't want anybody to break into my car. I'm probably going to get a storage as soon as I get there, because I'm going to be staying at an Airbnb when I get there. I haven't booked it yet, but I'm going to book it soon. So like, I'm excited about finally being, because like, even when I went up to St. Louis, I was going to live near Gladys, and then the thing happened with her toxic roommate, her toxic tenant. And so like, I really don't want a roommate. But I'm not sure if I find one roommate that's female, that's like my age, that's chill, that's, you know, it could be okay. And I don't know if I can afford, but I can find apartments, but I don't like know if they're in bad neighborhoods or what. I can find apartments in San Diego that are like $1,600, but they're like one bedroom or a studio. And I don't know if like they might be in Encinitas, you know, El Cajon is near San Diego, and it's kind of like a little sketchy. I almost stayed. So I went to a hotel, like a Motel 6, like when I was out in California in 2022, right? And I booked on San Diego, but I'm like, that could change if I get, because another area I was thinking about was Pismo, which is further north, either a little bit north of LA or a little bit south of LA, I think. I was thinking about Klamath. It's way up north. It's like a little teeny tiny town. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I'd have to go to Eureka, I guess, to go to the airport or anything. Or like, I don't know if there'd be a pool there for me to swim if I lived in Klamath. And I don't know if I like that small of a town. I don't like a big, huge city. Like, I live outside of Denver, really. I don't live in Denver metro, you know. I don't live there. I like being near a big city, but not in a big city, if you know what I mean. I don't want to live, I'm not a city girl, you know. I lived in the valley where there are horses and fields, and it's kind of misleading when I say I'm from California. Like, I don't say that too much anymore. I kind of try to say, like, now that I'm from the valley, I'm not, because I'm not from I'm not a city girl. I'm not from the city of Los Angeles, you know. These are good. I'm hungry. I think I'm going to eat my salad again. So I'm going to pray for y'all and let you go. Gone 2 hours and 13 minutes. Yeah, I like the benefits of living here. I love to go to concerts at Red Rock or concerts in Denver. But and go, be near an airport so I can fly to Europe if I want to, or so, I like to be near San Diego. I wanting to go to Hawaii. I'm wanting to see my aunt. She's in Hawaii, but I'm not sure. I haven't gotten the response from her about that yet, but I still do want to go to Hawaii. That's on my bucket list. I haven't been to Hawaii. I went to Europe and I still haven't been to Hawaii. So, But I want to be near an airport that's pretty big, because that's what my son is having the issue with, flying out of Bend. There's no big airport really near him. We would always go to Atlanta to go to the airport from Warner Robins, and it was an hour and a half drive. So there are benefits to living near a big city, but I don't want to live in a big city. So somewhere outside of San Diego. I don't know where you'd fly out of if I lived in Pismo. We had that sort of situation. When I would go see my parents, I would usually fly into Los Angeles, so I'd see my brother first and then go up to see my parents. So you went and camped 45 miles out. I didn't read something. I'm blabbering on. You went to Palm Springs the next day. I read that part. You really did not care for that? It was nice. We went and hiked at Joshua Tree. And I showed Gladys like a little bit of Los Angeles, but it was raining. And it's just like I told her, it never rains in California. Don't worry about it. But it was raining. It was March. Yeah, the end of March, 2021. Oh, you went to the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the Grand Canyon's pretty. We went to the Grand Canyon with our kids when they were little, and we went to Utah to Bryce. Bryce is really beautiful. Bryce Canyon. So I'm thinking San Diego. That's really where I'd most. My son says he wants to move somewhere warmer. And it's like, maybe he'll follow me this time if I move to San Diego. My daughter was like, are you going to move to Mexico? He's like, yeah, maybe I'll move to Mexico. Because my son is not happy. He doesn't like Trump. But my daughter voted for a Green Party person. Let me say this one for you before I pray for y'all and go. Sis 7 watching now. Thank you for watching. Nobody's commenting. There's not 7 people in my chat, but thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for watching the replay. I usually get more views on the replay. Okay, let me say this. Let me show you the pictures. This is an awesome book. Pray for me to find a new publisher and get them to. This is dedicated to my mom. They have put it has. It's in this one too. So it's in this one. But I wanted to do the pictures and all that, and I was trying to find a job and trying to be a writer, and I hired this vanity publishers. Don't ever hire them. They're crooks. And they ripped me off. And it was all over the place. It was on Walmart.com. And they said I sold 4 copies. And they sent me $11. And that wasn't even the amount they agreed to pay me for 4 copies. It was just a mess. Let me say it for you. Was there ever an elephant in your room? When it walked, it went boom. You tried to deny it, but you couldn't hide it. Where can you hide an elephant? Oh no, that's a cat, you try to say, or maybe a bat. It will fly away. If you can't admit it, you can't quit it. Go ahead and face it. Can you trace it? Could the truth set you free? Or will they all laugh at me? Perhaps. But who are they and why do we care if they laugh? They have a hyena in their room. That's so much worse than just an elephant. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. This was all my idea, the elephant cake, the elephant and the hyena, the elephant bat and the elephant cat. Of course, I didn't draw it. That's all, I paid them $3,000 just to draw these pictures. And then they sold all my royalties from me. And then they tried to sue me because I spoke out about them on social media. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day by day, these things I pray. I had them do a blended family. That was all my idea. And I had them make God look like James Pickerling. I have a higher power who created elephants. Maybe he can take care of it. I wonder what he'll do. Will he take it to the zoo? I'm probably going to write, I've been going to, but I've been kind of in a block. I've been in a writer's block. I said I don't get writer's block, but I've been in a writer's block. And I haven't wrote a lot of poetry, but I think I'm coming out of the writer's block because I was going to write a poem about the back and forth with the illustrator. I don't even know their name, about what does God look like, or what color is God? Because I had them make him look like the typical Jesus at first, and he did. He drew him that way. And then I said, no, just make him look like you can't even tell like what nationality he is. So he kind of looked like my ex-husband. Nobody can tell what nationality my ex-husband is, but he's actually Chinese. But people often think he's Mexican or whatever. So he made him really young. And then I said, no, he's too young. Then he made him like really old. This illustrator was really a smart ass. Didn't like me at all, I think. I was trying to get my $3,000 worth, right? So then they made God look like Father Time. Finally, I was so like aggravated. I'm like, okay, I don't want him to look like I don't want to say Morgan Freeman. I was watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy at the time because I didn't watch it before when I was goody two shoes because I was like, that's a bad show. There's too much sex in that show. And I didn't watch it. My sister-in-law actually got me into watching it, Joyce. And so I was watching all of them at that time, and I made them look like Dr. Weber, James Pickerling. And I actually sent him, I said, make him look like this. So that's God. So. What? People will come from miles around to see the greatest show in town, the elephant. He now does tricks and people pay to get their kicks. God can take your ashes and give you beauty. You thought you had to sacrifice. Everyone must pay their price. If I give him the elephant, he'll die. But the ringmaster doesn't work that way. The elephant will live another day. He'll sing and dance because he got a second chance. The circus is a place of joy and wonder because the ringmaster has a plan. Trust the elephant in his hands. That's that. But you can't buy this book. It has to be published again by a new publisher. And I wish my daughter would have given me the copy she had. But I guess she gave it to Goodwill or something. Just throw it away, just like you threw away your mom. No big deal. It's not important. It's a sucky book. I'm being sarcastic, as you can see. But that's the only copy I have left. And I'm going to get it republished. Pray with me about that. Okay, I'm going to pray for y'all and let you go. Any prayer requests? I'm going to pray for our country. Dear Lord, thank you for these friends and followers here. I pray you be with them. Continue to be with Jim and keep him safe as he travels, Lord. Thank you that he's able to go on this trip. Thank you for him being here, and thank you for his support on my channel. I pray you bless him and his family. And please be with Elsa and continue to be with her. I pray that she can continue getting her phone service. And thank you for continually watching over her and keeping her safe. I pray that she has healed or is healing continually from the falls she had, and that you would just continue to be with her and bless her and her kids and her fur babies and everything. Lord, I pray for those who are watching who didn't chat in the chat. I pray that you would bless them. I thank them for watching, and I appreciate you, whoever you are. Thank you for watching. Lord, I pray for this country, Lord. I pray for people that voted for Trump, for them to wake up and be aware that this is what they voted for, Lord. I pray for those who feel scared right now, Lord. I pray for the immigrants, the law-abiding immigrants, Lord, the people here. I pray for the people who are afraid right now, Lord. Help us to help them, Lord. Show us ways that we can resist and speak out and be there for others, for the marginalized, for the LGBTQ community, for the immigrants, for women. Lord, please help us to stand up and resist. I pray that you would help us. I pray that more people would stand up, that more people would be brave, that Republicans or Democrats, whoever, that can see the things that Trump wants to do that aren't good, Lord. Help us to be informed and help us to act and help us to get involved and help us, show us what we can do, Lord. Please be with the people in Gaza. I thank you for the ceasefire, Lord, and I pray it will continue. My heart breaks for the people of Ukraine, Lord. I pray for all of my followers, those that aren't here now, that you'd bless them and their families and be with them, Lord. Please be with Brenda and Glenn. Lord, I pray you'd guide me in my life. Thank you that I'm going to be able to move back to California. Thank you that I'm getting out of this expensive apartment. Lord, I pray that you would guide me in my writing. Thank you that I'm not depressed anymore like I was last summer, Lord. Thank you that I'm moving to California, and thank you for the people that are buying my things in my apartment. And I pray that you bless my children and my grandchildren and be with them and bless them and keep them safe and watch over them. Thank you for Albert, my extra son here in Denver, and I pray you continue to bless him. I pray you be with my sons, and that you'd help them to find good jobs that they like and be with them. And my daughters that are moms, that you'd help them to be good moms, Lord. My daughter that's in the Air Force, that you would protect her and keep her safe, Lord, and be with her. And I also really pray that she gets out of the Air Force, Lord, because I don't want her to be in the armed services under Trump. Please bless all my children. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So yeah, I think I answered your question. Either San Diego or Pismo Beach. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'm probably going to be, I can find Airbnbs that are less a month than this apartment. And I think when I go there the end of next month, I'm probably going to put my stuff in a storage, because the Airbnb, of course, is going to be furnished. So I don't think I'll need a lot of my stuff. I'm probably going to put my stuff in a storage for a while and try to find an apartment. So yeah, that's what's up with me. Elsa, are you still here? I'm continuing to pray for you, Elsa. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Jim. Thank you, all of you who are watching, and everybody that watches the replay. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm going to do poetry, prayer, and politics on Monday nights. Friday nights is Dinner with Red, 4:30 Pacific, 5:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time. So stay tuned. I'm downsizing, and I'm doing, hopefully this week, I'm going through all those past pictures. I even have some videos too from that time, from 2020. So I'll be telling that whole story and doing a video. It's probably going to be like 30 minutes long, or maybe it will have 2 parts on that experience. I've been going to do this video for a while, and so like I'm thinking about it now because I'm on Facebook Marketplace selling my stuff again. It's bringing back all the memories. And so yeah. So bye. Don't say that no one cares for you, because I do, and God does too. Don't forget to pray for Red, because Red is praying for you. Bye.